Hello, welcome to Super Scary. I'm Bender.
I'm Nick.
And today we're going to be talking about 2014's As Above, So Below.
Great movie by John Eric Dowdle.
or Dawdle. Not
Dowdle.
really sure.
Spell it.
Yeah.
Say it. Spell it. You spell it like Dowdle.
Yeah, Dowdle.
But-
D-O-W-D-L-E. It's he knows
Or
whatever.
it could be Doodle.
Yeah, Dawdle. Who knows?
Yeah. You told me about this movie.
I did. You were on vacation in Colorado last week, and I sent you with 3 films.
Mm-hmm.
The Collector, Clown, and As Above, So Below. And I tasked you with watching them all and picking your favorite to do this week on Super Scary.
And I did watch them all.
Yeah.
And I scared myself because we were staying up in the mountains in Colorado, and at night in this huge, huge house, it got very, very creepy.
Oh boy, I bet it was
So,
fun.
yeah. But yeah, we watched As Above, So Below whilst in the cabin, and I had a great time enjoying this one. It was very, very well done. A found footage movie.
Yeah, which, some people will say plagues the horror genre nowadays.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it plagues the horror genre, but there are quite a few of them these days.
And most of them are not very good.
Yeah.
Exception with this film, though.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Starring Perdita Weeks as Scarlett Marlowe, who's also starring in Penny Dreadful now on Showtime with Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, I bet that's awesome.
Yeah, it looks decent.
She's also got Ben Feldman in it, who he plays George in the film. He was also in the 2009 version of Friday the 13th. Gets axed in the beginning of that film right after he has sex. Typical Jason Voorhees.
And another found footage movie he was in.
Cloverfield.
Yeah.
He was also in Cloverfield.
Another good one.
Yeah, I do like Cloverfield. The movie also has Edwin Hodges, who plays Benji. He's been in all 3 Purge films. Apparently, he always plays a victim.
Yeah, Bloody Stranger is what they call him on IMDb anyway.
And
I've not seen any of the Purge movies.
They're good. We'll do a Super Scary. And then also Francois Civil, who plays Papillon. He was also in Rosemary's Baby, the NBC 2014 remake, which I didn't watch because why remake Polanski?
I don't know.
Anyways.
Especially as an NBC miniseries. Yeah. I can't imagine it was too good, but... Yeah.
Anyways, this film is excellent. Way better than your typical found footage scare fest, in my opinion.
Yeah. If I had to classify it, I would say that it's a supernatural, cave, exploration, found footage, adventure horror.
It's a great subgenre that I feel is really untapped in the horror market. The reason I watched this film initially, or was excited for its release, is because I love The Descent, like, a lot. It's one of my favorite horror movies, and so I was really excited to see another horror movie take place in a cave. And not only a cave, but the catacombs of Paris.
Yes.
So the story centers around Scarlett, Perdita Weeks' character, and she is searching for the Philosopher's Stone, basically. Yes. She is completing her father's work, who was also a great scientist.
I'm very interested in alchemy.
Yeah, and I believe he committed suicide.
Yeah, but his daughter, she is not one to go that route. She's quite the badass, actually.
Yeah.
She's got 2 PhDs. Mm-hmm. One in urban archaeology and one in symbology. She has a master's in chemistry. She's a black belt in Krav Maga.
She speaks 4 languages and 2 dead languages.
Yeah. So this chick, she's on top of it.
Yeah.
She's kicking life's ass, and she goes down in those catacombs with her buddies, and I guess her cameraman Benji, and then her friend George.
Her friend George, who she convinces after she shows him the lead that she found in a Middle Eastern country as a statue with symbols all over it that sort of pointed to the location of the Philosopher's Stone.
When they first meet up, you get the impression that he's pretty reluctant to help because they don't come out and say it, but you can tell that he knows she's the type of gal who gets into some wacky capers.
Yeah.
And he's not, he's reluctant to help at all to begin with. But then once he finally does, he's very adamant that, okay, I'll help you translate these whatever, the symbols that she found on the statue.
I want to say Sumerian was the language, but don't quote me on it.
Was it Aramaic?
Possibly.
I think that might have been.
Again.
Something. Anyway, he'll help, but he is in no way interested in going down into the catacombs with her.
Which, of course, is, as with most horror movies, is foreshadowing that he ends up down in the catacombs with her.
Yeah.
In order to get into the catacombs, they find Papillon, who is known that he knows his way around.
Yeah.
In the unmapped and the unguided section of the catacombs, where you can't have a tour guide take you there.
Some might call them the uncharted sections.
Oh, yeah. So they meet up with Papillon and they convince him that there's treasure in the catacombs, and they get him and his two friends, Susie and Zed, to take them down into the catacombs and search for the stone. And it gets real creepy real quick.
It does. Instantly, though, I was impressed with how gung-ho Scarlet is.
Yeah.
I mean, heading into the catacombs, you go to haunted houses sometimes, and it's tough to get one person to walk into a room by themselves to lead the group. She's leading a group of people through the catacombs of Paris, where they're just bones strewn about everywhere. You know, at one point, pretty early on, they actually have to crawl through a very tight space, through a pile of bones that's just stacked probably 5 or 6 feet high.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. But a lot of really cool stuff like that in this movie. And I love the mix of the exploration, that Indiana Jones Uncharted type of thing, where you've got the sort of mythological, the archaeological bent to the film, but then when the horror starts, you get really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, it's very nerve-wracking at a point.
The climax of the film, or what the film is building towards, is that they basically enter hell.
Yeah.
They're unable to get out of the catacombs the way they came. And so they just have to keep going down, and they go down, and they go down, and they go down, and eventually they literally end up in hell. And it's such a great scene when that happens, because they're in sort of a really tight area. You know, it's not a room necessarily, but they're in kind of this weird tight area, and they find a small opening near the floor, and they all kind of crouch down, and written on the wall, just kind of in this random place, is what is it? No,
abandon all hope.
Yeah, that's right. It's abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Well, they decide to enter because they can't go back, and they're crawling, and it's great because Scarlett's still gung-ho to be the first one through, but she turns back, and I believe she quotes, I want to say the Bible, probably, and she looks back at George and says,
"And they should be made to crawl on their bellies to enter the kingdom of darkness."
Yeah, that occurred to me too.
I'm just like, it's so good. And then they come out on the other side, and it's creepy. Mm-hmm. It's creepy. I love the sort of desolate depiction of hell.
Yeah, where it's more psychological in nature than just getting physically tortured. There is torture going on, the mental anguish that these characters are going through in various spots once they enter hell. It's like being tormented by someone who knows your deepest, darkest secrets and your deepest fears. That's what's happening to each character one by one. And
Scarlett is haunted by her father who committed suicide.
Yeah. George sees his brother who drowned when they were young kids.
Yeah. Papillon is haunted by a car wreck.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's really good.
It is
really cool.
And along the way, you see some pretty cool stuff once they enter the catacombs. You've got crazy cultists who are just down in the catacombs by themselves, just dressed in this crazy garb, singing very, very creepy opera music.
Yeah,
almost.
that part is so creepy.
And they don't do anything.
They're just there. It's just like that's where they congregate, is down in the uncharted catacombs, and it's just it's so creepy.
You get druids, a few ghosts,
some monsters. That the one ghost in hell that's sitting in the chair.
Oh yeah,
the cloaked.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting chills right now. It's so creepy.
It's really is a great movie. I'm glad I watched it. I mean, even outside of it being a horror movie, it's just a good movie in general.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really take issue if you look it up. Maybe at some point in the past you heard about it when it came out, and you checked the scores on Rotten Tomatoes, where it's got a 26, or on Metacritic it has a 38, a 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb. And I'm just thinking, like, who the fuck reviewed this movie? Did they even watch it? I don't understand what the problem was.
That's the thing about this film, and it's one of the reasons I was really glad that you picked it to do for this show, because I feel like its release, it was kind of billed as like, a Friday night scare your girlfriend flick. Take her to the movies and, watch this found footage ghost story. But it really has a lot more to it than that. And it's just really well done. I mean, especially comparatively to another movie, The Pyramid, which essentially has the exact same plot. There's archaeologists, they're searching for something, they find it, they venture inside, and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
The Pyramid sucks balls.
I've never watched it.
Well, don't, because
Okay.
it's terrible. But this movie is really excellent, and it really does a good job of conveying the hellish nature of hell, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned to you another thing I liked about it was the fact that it deals with one of my favorite things, and that's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Laid out by Joseph Campbell. It's a perfect representation of that, with the hero being called, hearing the call to action, which is Scarlet wanting to finish the work of her father, and then the descent down into the unknown, into the abyss, and then sort of grabbing that forbidden item and then running back to where you came from with something, that treasure, something that that was kind of forbidden, but that is going to, impart some wisdom or some new power or ability to the person who goes down and gets it. So I really like that aspect of it, and I think maybe some people missed out on that, and they were too focused on, as I still saw in some of the reviews, worrying about the fact that the camera shakes.
Yeah.
And it made me nauseous when I was watching. And it was like, that's the same shit people were saying about the first Blair Witch when it came out. Like,
I really think that found footage works well for this film.
Oh yeah.
I think it's really it feels less novel in this. Like it just works. Like, of course you would film something like this, and of course you would just hold a camera and do it. You wouldn't have, a film crew down there with you. So
it's a really cool way to authentically get all of this footage.
Mm-hmm.
Each person that's down there is wearing a camera on the front of their little
their headlamps.
Their headlamps, yeah. So it's a really cool way to make the found footage thing believable.
Yeah.
Because they weren't all carrying cameras as they were running away. It was just naturally filming.
Right.
You saw through their eyes, basically.
So make sure you check out As Above, So Below. It's a great movie. Definitely not your typical scarefest. It's a little bit better than that.
Yes.
Make
Still
sure
very scary.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Also very scary, very creepy. Make sure to tune in next week. We're going to be doing our first Super Scary double feature of Killer Clowns from Outer Space and Ernest Scared Stupid.
2 movies that share a very, very cool connection.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.